federal workers because we know that government jobs should be union jobs now and for generations to come. I stand here with a fighter for veterans, a fighter for unions every day on the floor of the House of Representatives in the United States Congress. Steve Lynch, the congressman from West Roxbury, representing this incredible facility. I'm joined by State Representative Bill McGregor, who represents West Roxbury, Councilor Ed Flynn, who is here, a veteran himself, someone who has stood for veterans throughout his entire career. We stand with leaders and workers from across the federal labor movement, especially all of those unions that are here today. The American Federation of Government Employees, AFGE, the National Association of Government Employees, and the Service Employees International Union, SEIU. Thank you for being here. James Farley, NAGE National Executive Vice President. Ben Prescriture, Legislative and Political Coordinator for AFGE Local 221. Jacqueline Rose, President of NAGE 187. Lily Simmons, President of AFGE Local 3428 EPA Region 1 Workers. So we have just a gathering of those who represent the workers who are inside right now doing the job for our veterans. And we're here because hundreds of thousands of workers across dozens of federal agencies have seen their contracts terminated or threatened by the Trump administration. These are union workers who have dedicated their lives to serving their neighbors and protecting their communities. Right here in Massachusetts, this includes 3,800 workers at the Boston VA, 760 workers at the Northampton VA, 1,140 workers at the Bedford VA, 400 workers at the Environmental Protection Agency in Massachusetts. These are the workers who protect veterans, healing the wounds of war and communities in the face of environmental crisis. When corporations discharge toxins into the ground or the air we breathe, it is union workers who respond. When veterans need mental health care or treatment for injuries or illness or care in their later years, it is union workers who respond. 17 veterans commit suicide every day in our country. It is union workers who provide the care for them and their families. We need more care, not less. We owe these workers, and we owe the veterans they serve the resources they need. After their service to our nation, it is our responsibility to serve veterans and military families. I know workers here at the VA do not take this opportunity lightly. Every day, with heart and dedication, you serve those who served our country. You ensure that the sacrifices veterans have made are recognized with respect and dignity and personal, consistent care. Nationally, veterans themselves make up 28% of the federal workforce, including 40% of AFGE employees. 122,000 VA employees are veterans. As one constituent said to me last week, no one can advocate for veterans better than a veteran. But instead of protecting those who have gone to war on behalf of the United States, the Trump administration is declaring war on veterans and on the unions and their workers who serve those veterans. It is an insult to our country. It is an insult to those workers who have done the job for our nation. Under the Trump administration, the VA has recorded a loss of 688 physicians, 1,882 registered nurses, 365 licensed practical nurses, 316 nurse assistants, 511 social workers, 211 psychologists, 766 medical support assistants. The VA will have laid off 30,000 people by September 30th of next month. That is unacceptable. Our vets deserve better. Nationwide, the number of medical staff on hand to treat veterans has fallen every month since Trump has taken office. At least 655 VA contracts have been canceled, including research and support services. Over 300 clinical trials are frozen in areas such as PTSD, cancer, and opioid addiction. These actions are a direct attack on our veterans and on the people who care for them. This administration is treating union workers as expendable, their work as unimportant, and their contracts as null and void. What Trump has done is not only callous, it is cruel, it is anti-worker, and it is illegal. It is flat out illegal what they are doing. The Trump administration is cutting the contracts using national security as their justification. Well, this is an insult to the veterans and the VA workers inside who sacrificed for our national security. You cannot use the guise of national security to cut workers that are helping the veterans after those veterans, in fact, provided the national security which protected every family here in Massachusetts and across the country. And this isn't just a threat to federal workers. It's a threat to every member of every union who has fought and bargained for their contracts. We have already seen the administration is not stopping with the VA and the EPA. They also have their sights set on the Federal Emergency Management Agency, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, and numerous other federal agencies. If the Trump administration is willing to tear up union contracts, they'll turn a blind eye when corporations seek to tear up union contracts. And why is Trump betraying the brave Americans who have served our nation selflessly and deliberately starving this healthcare system? It's because he wants to turn it into a private voucher program and give the business over to private corporations who right now are having a hard time in providing health care for our country. Just look at Trump's budget proposal in 2026, an $11 billion increase in taxpayer funding for private health for veterans, paid for by a corresponding cut in the public system, the veteran system, to protect and provide health care for our veterans. The president has made it clear. He does not care about democracy. He doesn't care about communities. He doesn't care about workers. He only cares about billionaires getting tax cuts, and it's at the expense of our workers. It's at the expense of our veterans who lose the services which they are entitled to. This is not what workers deserve. It is not what veterans deserve. What workers deserve is respect for union contracts, support for veterans and our communities, and the dignity of health care support and protection. So here's what I know, and what the Trump administration should hear loud and clear. No matter what they do, they can never steal collective worker power. They will never suppress the strength of solidarity. We are going to fight back. We are not going to allow Trump to do this, to dismantle the VA system, to harm those veterans, and to leave union workers without their jobs. So we're going to look ahead. We're not going to agonize. We're going to organize for the veterans, organize for the workers. My father was a union leader. He always taught me you don't beg for your rights, you have to take them. That's why we have these union leaders here today. We're going to make sure that the American public understands that these cuts have consequences politically, razor blade sharp consequences for those Republicans seeking to cut veterans' benefits and workers' benefits. So we thank you all for joining us here today. And now it's my great honor to introduce the great congressman from West Roxbury, who was a voice for workers and veterans every day on the floor of the House of Representatives, Stephen Lynch.
Thank you. Thank you, Ed. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ed. I want to thank my colleagues in government here, as well as all the union workers who are here as well. Thank you for being here, but thank you for the work that you do every day. We are here today on behalf of union workers who care for our veterans every single day, but also for the veterans themselves. As Ed pointed out, many of our workers here at the VA are veterans themselves. So they served their country in uniform, came home, and then continued to serve their country. I'm very proud to have 3 exceptional VA facilities in my congressional district, and I represent those along with Ed and others. The West Roxbury VA here, the Jamaica Plain VA Medical Center, and the Brockton VA Medical Center. Not too long ago, we were on this very spot in February, and we gathered here at this site to denounce Trump administration decisions to lay off over 1,000 VA employees across the country. Last week, the news got worse. The VA announced that it is abruptly terminating its collective bargaining agreement with the majority of employees represented by AFG, the American Federation of Government Employees, NAGE, the National Nurses United, SEIU, and the National Federation of Federal Employees as well. These contracts were negotiated in good faith and cover the terms and conditions of employment, the pay, the benefits, retirement, and other working conditions for those employees. Terminating those contracts strips those workers at the VA of their fundamental collective bargaining rights, including doctors, nurses, benefits specialists, pharmacists, mental health workers, cemetery workers, and maintenance employees. Just last week, we had the Inspector General of the VA give us a report card. We asked, this is the Trump-appointed Inspector General. The original one was fired by Trump when he came in January. So this is the Trump administration Inspector General, who did a survey of 139 VA hospitals across the country. The report came back to us last week that 90% of those, 90% of those medical centers have short staffing, critical short staffing of medical officers and nurses. 90% of them had not enough medical officers to provide stability and safe and proper care to their patients. And I believe this unilateral withdrawal of collective bargaining rights and union recognition is illegal. This case, by the way, right now, this dispute is in court. Right now, the Trump administration has promised not to go forward with enforcement, and so it's in limbo right now. But we've already heard examples where, despite their promises to the court, the Trump administration has violated the very agreements that they committed to in court. Importantly, these changes negatively impact the critical health care and other services that the VA provides to our more than 16 million veterans nationwide. The VA's own dashboard reports that since Trump took office, the VA has lost 8,700 mission-critical employees, including over 2,000 registered nurses, more than 750 doctors, and nearly 1,300 veterans claims examiners have been dismissed, including members of the Veterans Suicide Helpline, in the midst of a suicide crisis among our returning veterans. And now, just this week, we're discovering that things are getting worse as employees find that their rights have been stripped. More employees are seeking employment in private hospitals, which are competing with the VA for their services. Last week, we sent a letter to the VA Secretary Doug Collins opposing the decision to terminate collective bargaining agreements for the VA employees and asking him to provide our officers with detailed data on the full extent of the Trump administration's action to reduce VA staff and resulting impact on VA appointment waiting times. These reckless decisions by the Trump administration haven't just happened at the VA. As Ed mentioned, it has metastasized across the federal government. In the past week, officials at FEMA and the EPA have announced that they will be canceling the collective bargaining agreements with their employees as well. The Trump administration is creating a hostile, anti-worker, anti-union environment at the VA and other federal agencies. And as a member of the House Democratic Litigation Group, I am coordinating with our federal employee unions like AFG and NAGE to fight these actions and to restore fundamental labor rights to VA workers and other federal employees. In closing, we all have to remember that veterans' health care and other benefits are different. Veterans' benefits are benefits that are awarded to veterans for previous service courageously rendered. When our sons and daughters put on that uniform, this country makes a promise to those soldiers, airmen, Marines, and sailors. And the promise is this: we promise them if they should suffer wounds, either visible or invisible, from their time in service, we will take care of them and their families when they return. Every administration throughout our country's history has kept that promise until now. Until now. So we're here today to say that for us, we intend to keep that promise. Not only to the veterans, but to the wonderful and courageous workers that provide care to them each and every day. That's what this fight is all about. God bless these union workers for the services they provide to our veterans, and God bless our veterans. Thank you.
And next we're going to hear from James Farley, the NAGE National Executive Vice President. Welcome.
Thank you, Senator. Yeah, I'm Jim Farley. I'm the National Executive Vice President for NAGE, the National Association of Government Employees. It's difficult to even speak to all the issues out there. Sometimes I feel like I'm living in a dream state. If you had told me 10 years ago that a convicted sexual predator felon who dodged the draft in 1968 with a bone spur and then couldn't tell you which foot it was on, and said John McCain, and I quote, "He's not a war hero. He was a war hero because he was captured. I don't like people who are captured." Well, John McCain is a hero. The people behind me, over my shoulder, in the VA, on both sides of the bed, are heroes. So this is not just about worker rights. I met a few years ago with the Biden Secretary of the VA in Washington and a bunch of our leadership annual meeting that the Trump administration and the first administration and currently refuses to have anything to do with us, to even hear our voice. And the issue then was recruitment and retention. People wanted to do the job, but they couldn't get people onboarded quick enough. As Congressman said, people are leaving. And, you know, I'm going to repeat something the Congressman said. This is an earned benefit for honorable service to our country, and it's a national disgrace what this administration is doing. So, moving forward, we are going to be here as unions with our colleagues, with advocacy groups, with our electeds. We're going to fight. We're fighting in the courts every day, and we just need people to stick with us. So if you're a veteran, if you have a veteran in your family, go on social media, come to an event like this. You know, it's going to be a tough fight, and we're going to win it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we're going to hear from Ben Prescriture, Legislative Director for AFGE, Local 221. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to thank Representative Lynch and Senator Markey for taking time out to show up at this event and to support veterans and workers, given the multiple attempts by the President and by the VA and by several other government organizations to diminish or destroy the democracy and the Constitution. Taking time out for this event is greatly appreciated, so thank you. The need to rally and organize has been created by the recent decisions by the Secretary of the VA, the President, to reduce worker rights and veterans care. Worker rights have been negotiated. There is a contract in force, and the administration, which they did in their first term, is attempting once again to eliminate the negotiations between workers and the Veterans Administration to allow worker rights to exist. And we're fortunate in that in the VA here in Boston, our worker rights and our work with management has been respected, and we've had a good relationship which creates a good sense of morale and, obviously, most importantly, a phenomenally good experience of care for the veterans that covers serious medical issues and mental health issues. For example, suicide and post-traumatic stress disorder are frequently part of the treatment and training. And working with veterans over the years has been substantially beneficial to them. And I think all the workers appreciate what the VA administration here locally has done and what we've been able to do for veterans. And people may or may not know this, but Boston VA is considered one of the sort of highlight VAs in the country because of this work, research, effort, and the care that veterans receive. To see what's happening in the administration, the attempt to diminish officials within both VA and management and the unions has been infuriating for me. One of the reasons I'm here is actually that the president of Local 221, Joseph Thurston, has to be at work right now. Otherwise, he would probably be here. Since I'm retired, I don't have any concerns about oversight or concerns about official time. So I'm glad to be here, but I'm infuriated at what's happening. Remember, it's important to keep in mind that the veterans who signed up to be in the military signed up with a kind of agreement that they were willing to put their lives on the line. And what we do for them is to care for them irrespective of what's happened to them in the military. And some of it is combat related and some of it is not, but they're still entitled to care as it should be. We have an obligation in the United States of America to provide care for the people who were willing to put their lives on the line for us. So with that in mind, the American Federation of Government Employees will continue to fight for worker rights and for veterans care, and we will fight against these draconian and illegal executive orders, and we will win, as we have done in the past. We will work with our other brothers and sisters in the unions with legislative actions, especially fortunate for us, we have a group in Massachusetts that understands us and works with us. So we will continue to fight. We're the backbone, the health care for the VA and for veterans. And our union, and I know the other unions, we will mobilize, we will organize, we will stand up, and we will fight back. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Next, we're going to hear from Jacqueline Rose, president of NAGE R1 187, Boston VA workers.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacqueline Rose and I am president of NAGE Local R1-187. I represent the registered nurses here at West Roxbury and Brockton campuses and the nurse practitioners at the Brockton VA. I have worked here for 24 years and I have to say this year has been totally different from any in my career. I've never seen anything like this. We, the employees of the Department of Veterans Affairs, we choose to work here. We choose to work here not for money, but because we love our veterans. We have all made that choice to take care of our nation's heroes, and we are going to continue to do that. Since January 20th, 2025, the unions have been working tirelessly to combat the onslaught of executive orders that have aimed to take our rights as federal employees away. This culminated on August 6th. At 3 p.m., the national unions received formal notice from the Department of Veterans Affairs announcing the immediate and unilateral termination of our master agreements under the Executive Order 14251. I can tell you that because I was on the phone with the Deputy Director of NAGE when the email went through. This is just another tactic for the administration to try and weaken the rights of our federal employees. These are rights that we have gained and earned over 50 plus years, starting back with President Kennedy in his establishment. But now, unfortunately, they have been removed. We will continue to fight for these rights and we will prevail. We are going to continue to fight for the rights of every employee across the country. We will fight to get those wrongfully terminated contracts back. We understand it may take time, but we are here and we are going to succeed. We are strong. Our voices cannot and will not be silent. I will not be silent. To the employees of the VA Boston healthcare system, NAGE and the other unions, AFSCME, we make this promise to you. We are not going anywhere. And I can honestly say I am not going anywhere. I am still here. I am still working. I am around. I'm not leaving. I will continue to advocate for our rights and protections afforded to us under federal law with the assistance of the national unions and our leadership. We will not quit. I will not quit. To the veterans, the most important people in our lives, we are here. We will continue to take care of you. We will continue to provide the best care and treatments that we can provide under the Department of Veteran Affairs. You will not notice any changes. We will not let it affect your care. We will still show up with smiles on our faces and come to work. Why? Because we care. That will never change. Our priority will always be the veterans of this country, our nation's heroes who fought so tirelessly, many losing their lives to protect our freedoms. We will stay, we will fight, but we will be here for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Lily Simmons, President of AFGE Local 3428, EPA Region 1 Workers.
Thank you so much, Senator. Thank you, everyone, for being here, enjoying this lovely smog-free day brought to you by the American people who believe that government has to do some things and does a great job at it. I'm Lily Simmons. I'm representing workers at EPA throughout Region 1 with Local 3428. Why is it good for our workers to have a union? So you can come to somebody with complaints, somebody who's going to listen to you, someone who knows what's going on, what all the policies are in the workplace. Why is it good to have a contract? Because it puts all the most common things that people have problems with in a contract. What are the appropriate schedules? How can you make a complaint? What if someone is harassing you in the workplace? All of that stuff is in our contract. And for a science-based industry agency like EPA, we also have articles about scientific integrity. helping people to share the results of their work when they're taking air samples, water samples, when they're researching the effects of toxics on people, children. You need someone like the union to say this person has done their job and you cannot fire them because they have done nothing wrong. This is one of the main things that we do at Local 3428, representing the EPA employees here in Boston. And we're just one of many unions representing government employees across the country. Our unions help us stay in our jobs. They help us protect the public. And this executive order, this legislation, this litigation from the president is illegal. Contracts are meant to be followed, and that is what American people want. That's what our workers want, and that is why we are here today supporting our union brothers and sisters across the country. Thank you very much, everyone.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And again, it's so great to have Representative McGregor and Councilor Flynn here with us. Would either of you like to say a word?
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Congressman Lynch, Councilor Flynn, and all the unions. I will keep it brief because I actually don't have anything prepared. But this is obviously another outrageous example of what our president's doing, disrespecting our workers. Unions means fair wages and fair benefits. My father is a patient here. He was an Army veteran from Vietnam War, and I want to make sure that he has union workers helping him. I want everyone to be able to have someone that is a union worker covering them. Unions bring, if it wasn't for unions, I wouldn't be here. Unions brought food on, put food on my table. My father was a union worker, my brother, my grandfather, and my wife is a union worker. We need our unions more than ever now, so cutting their benefits, cutting out collective bargaining, it doesn't work right now, and I'm happy to stand with our federal and city elected leaders. So thank you guys for being here.
Beautiful. Great job. Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Senator Markey and Congressman Lynch, for bringing us here today, and honored to be with my friend Billy McGregor as well, and with Mike Rush, the state senator and Navy veteran also. Again, want to say thank you to the incredible work of the Mass delegation, Senator Markey and Congressman Lynch. But why I'm here today as a Navy veteran, someone that served 20 years in the U.S. Navy. I get my care right here in West Roxbury and Jamaica Plain. I love the care I receive here because of the exceptional medical professionals that provide that care. Not just the doctors, not just the nurses, but also the people that do the admin work, and the janitors and the secretaries. Exceptional work. They treat veterans with respect. They treat them with dignity. And as Stephen Lynch mentioned, these aren't entitlement programs. These are services that veterans put their life on the line. They sacrificed. They died. But what we're here to demonstrate today is veterans need to be treated with respect and dignity. And the workers that provide exceptional care to veterans also deserve respect and dignity. Honored to be here with my colleagues in government and other veterans as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Congressman Lynch or for any of our union leaders here on any subject that you may have?
What's the status of the act that you guys are doing to restore our rights for collective bargaining, to protect federal workers act?
Well, we're going to be organizing, getting the co-sponsors, and bringing it right to the Republicans throughout the rest of this year and next year, right up until Election Day next year. We're going to make sure that we put union workers front and center as an election issue next year. Yeah, Stephen?
Yeah. Well, just with respect to the litigations that's ongoing in federal district court, the SEIU, AFG, NAGE, and other unions requested a temporary restraining order, an injunction against the administration from taking any action on their policy on this executive order. The court was inclined to grant that to the unions, but the government promised, the administration promised, that they would not go forward with any action, but they would let the arguments go forward in court. And so the court held that temporary restraining order in abeyance and scheduled another date to argue that. So that's where we sit right now. But it's not unusual, and it has happened again, that the Trump administration has broken the promise they made before the judges of not taking action. They're actually taking punitive action against employees in violation of what they told the judge they would do. So we'll be back into court again on that issue. But right now, they've scheduled another court date to argue that.
Beautiful. Are there any questions from the press?
What is your view of the upcoming summit?
Any negotiation between Trump and Putin that excludes Ukraine, that excludes Zelensky, is unacceptable. The Ukrainian people have made a great sacrifice over many years in order to protect their territory. And so to the extent to which Trump and Putin come to an agreement that excludes Ukraine and its people and their acceptance of that agreement, it is just absolutely unconscionable. Under Donald Trump, GOP stands for gullible on Putin. Putin has not stopped fighting. Putin continues to invade, and any agreement has to be completely and totally respectful of the Ukrainian people, with Zelensky at the table. And no agreement that excludes Ukrainians is acceptable at all. Stephen?
No, I agree.
One follow-up, Senator?
Yeah.
In your mind, if at all possible, what would it look like coming out of the summit? Is there any positives that you can see that could come out of it?
If Trump is able to convince Putin to respect the territorial integrity of Ukraine, to stop the fighting, to begin a negotiation with Zelensky and Ukraine, then we would have something that was successful. But I do not expect Donald Trump to be able to extract that kind of a concession from Putin.
The only thing I would add to that is just, we should restore military funding to Ukraine and allow them to defend themselves, step one. And then that might incentivize Putin. As more Russians die in that battle, that's the only thing I think that Putin will listen to is if his troops are defeated on the ground. And we need to give Ukraine the ability to defend themselves.
Yeah. And I would add to what Congressman Lynch said, Trump should make it clear to Putin that the United States and the West will impose a vise-like set of economic sanctions on Russia if they do not end this war with Ukraine, and do so in a way that is fair and just for the Ukrainian people. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Your thoughts on federal forces in Washington, D.C.?
Well, Congressman Lynch and I were in the Capitol complex on January 6, 2021. Trump refused to send National Guard troops up on January 6 when insurrectionists were trying to take over the Capitol and our government. But today, with no emergency in the District of Columbia, he is sending in troops like an authoritarian, like a dictator. And the city of Washington is right to fight back, to sue, to protect against this dictatorial takeover, and by the use of military troops where there is a non-emergency by a president who refused to send in troops when there was an emergency on January 6th inside of our Capitol. Yeah, good. Questions from anybody? Thank you all so much. Thanks for being here. Thank you.